And then I ask them, so what are you thinking of? And they go, a triangle with a circle around it. Like, oh, just like this? Then they freak out. Um, but it's also, I didn't know it at the time, it's also the symbol for Alcoholics Anonymous. So I got the tattoo, and then for months I had no clue why, but people all over the country were coming up to me going, "Hey, are you a friend of Bill's?" And I had no clue what they were talking about until a buddy of mine goes, "Hey man, congratulations." I was like, "Thank you." For what? It's like, for going sober. It's like, what could possibly make you think I went sober? We're in a bar right now. He goes, your tattoo. It's like, I dare you to make less sense. What are you talking about? He goes, oh, you really don't know. It's like, I don't know what. He goes, yeah, this circle with the triangle is Alcoholics Anonymous. It's on the sobriety coins. It's on the keychain. It's on everything. So are people asking you if you're a friend of Bill? Yes. Oh, yeah. That's the guy that founded it. So that's kind of their secret handshake. Oh, okay. That explains so much. So now I know what people are asking when they ask about it, or they're like, "Hey, your friend Bill's." Like, oh, I know what you're asking about,
Now,
and
what
about
about
that.
that other one?
This one is from GI Joe's. Uh, my favorite GI Joe character from the comic books was Snake Eyes. He's a ninja character, and everybody in his ninja clan has this tattoo right there on the forearm. Well, GI Joe stole it from the I Ching. So I get a bunch of folks who are I Ching enthusiasts going, "Hey, what trigram is that?" So she's like, I specialize in getting tattoos that mean the wrong thing to most people.
How funny.
Yeah, but
Okay,
you
so
can.
tell me that, just tell me that trick with the guy with the boat colors. So
Oh,
you
right, right,
made
right.
him, how do you make him think the color you've already drawn? Because you already
I
drew that.
I don't. That's the weird part about it. There's really no shortcut trick to it, right? Where magic deals with tricks of objects, like you could go, oh, it was a trick deck, or he used sleight of hand to get the card out of the middle to the bottom or the top or whatever it is. There's some sort of physical answer to it that's super, it's easy to understand but difficult to appreciate, right? That kind of thing. Mentalism is using applied psychology. So you're leveraging a non-physical dynamic to create a non-physical result. So there's no simple trick you can point to and go, it's like this. So you really got to have the 10, 15 years of performing experience to understand and appreciate what's really happening, that makes it look like it's just happening on its own, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah.
crazy, but it does
Yeah, so
make
there's
sense.
no yeah, so there's no simple trick to it, although I wish there were. It would make my job a lot easier.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
really neat. Really neat. What a
Thank you.
cool life you've created for yourself.
It's fun, man. It's so neat.
Yeah, it's good to wake
Uh,
up in the morning loving what you do.
it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where are you based out of?
I'm in San Diego. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I have
All
a
right.
meditation house in San Diego on an acre. It's beautiful.
That's
Beautiful.
great.
I
That's
love what
great.
I do too.
Yeah, it's possible. And it's just deeply disappointing to see how many people don't believe it.
It's true, isn't it? I have a lot of people come up to my door that are just lost, or anxiety is the number one thing I hear,
Mm-hmm.
and depression or illness of some kind, manifested depression and anxiety in some form, whether it's lupus, MS, high blood pressure, heart attack, breast cancer. Those are some of my clients.
Right, right. And it's weird. It's kind of like every object created by human beings was first just an idea. So somebody imagined it, then put their time and physical energy into creating this physical thing that now exists in the universe. And that's exactly what our lives are. It's our ideas applied through our actions that create the physical manifestation of the quality of our thinking. And that takes shape positive and negative. It's an amoral process, right? So that's why I would say karma is amoral. It's good, bad. It's just emotional, spiritual, physical cause and effect. That's all it is. Yeah, super weird. Oh, you cut out. I can't hear you.
Oops.
There
Where
you
are
go.
you now?
I am in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
So I like to say I get my mail here in Chicago. So I have an engagement on Thursday here in Chicago. Then Saturday I'm in Atlanta, and then I'm in Gainesville after that. And then I'll see my family in North Carolina for a while. And I'll be back to Chicago after that. So I'm enjoying the calm before the storm. So when
And
I'm
all the
home,
heat?
yeah, ugh. Yeah, but when I'm home, I live a really structured existence, like very clear boundaries, and I do this, then I do that. So it helps keep me sane so that when the chaos happens of being on the road, I have a lot more flexibility because I kind of have that inertia of structure from home. Before it devolves too far, I get back home, back into my structure. But I've got my practices that I do even when I'm on the road. It's like I wake up and I do kung fu every morning. That's my daily physical practice to reinforce the physical and mental part of it.
Yeah. Do you do any meditating ever?
That is my meditation.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see it as a moving meditation of complete focus on the movement, so that there's no space for any other kind of thought, which
Right.
is really kind of fun,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is very meditative.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's a lot easier to focus if you know that if you aren't focusing, somebody's punching you in the face. That's a
Yeah.
that's a very powerful focuser.
Yeah. That'll wake you up
Like,
really fast.
but Jonathan, I have trouble focusing. Okay, every time you drift, I'll punch you in the face. What? Well, you just don't have enough skin in the game. You don't have enough incentive to focus. That's the easy answer. When can I start punching you in the face? Yeah, it's tough
Uh,
love. It's
yeah.
tough love.
Yeah. How long have you been doing Kung Fu?
About 8 years.
Huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's been my daily practice for 8 years. So I miss some
Wonderful.
days here and there, but for the most part, it's I know I have to do it because my life was pretty much in shambles. Found kung fu, and then that pulled me out of the chaos and go, oh, this is great because it helps you physically first, right? Because that's the first layer of fear is worrying somebody's going to physically attack me. Like, yes, it's going to hurt, and they still might win, but I now know I can give myself the best chance of winning by not defeating myself. So that addresses the physical fear. So now it gives you the emotional confidence to free up from speaking your mind and fearing physical retribution or backlash, right? So being able to have competence in the most fundamental level of potential violence frees you up from more abstract versions of fear. So that's kind of the more detailed answer to the fear question, but it's a huge conversation of why kung fu and martial arts is such a spiritual practice more so than just punching and kicking that most people think it is.
Right. Right. And discipline.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
And
discipline.
that's another thing, to be disciplined. Well, when you're a kid, that's a bad thing. When you're an adult, that's a good thing. So where does that alchemy happen? Right? Where you see it as a negative thing your whole life, and then suddenly it's a virtue. No wonder people lack discipline, is because they associate it with a punitive action for bad behavior. Where having a disciplined life where you constrain your options and your environment to make good behavior the easiest pathway, that's what discipline is. So discipline is the pathway to freedom, but too many people associate it as a negative thing and then confuse unrestrained hedonism with freedom and then wind up destroying their life and drastically narrowing their options, where it's either overdosing or going to prison are the only two options they have left as the result of freedom. So most people are living in a bizarro world, mirror dimension, where good is bad and bad is good, and hedonism is freedom, and it's like nope, nope. Everything is exactly backwards from what you believe. That's it. Yeah,
Ugh,
yeah.
that's an interesting thought. That's an interesting thought. I never thought about discipline like that before.
Discipline is freedom. That's it. That's it. Because unrestrained options equals chaos. Where anything could happen, you're lost. But when you constrain your options, you maximize your ability to function. So
But
you
that's
either
different. That's different from anything's possible.
right, right. It's kind of like a cartoon. Anything is possible because you could draw anything. But in order to make sense of a narrative, you need some things to remain constant, right? So the character needs to stay the same, the sound needs to stay, right? So there has to be some consistency. So the illustrator has to have the discipline to maintain that which is required to communicate the message,
So, do
right?
you think it's more about consistency than discipline?
No, it's all about discipline. It's all about discipline because discipline is a function of that consistency, right? It's kind of like you can't be disciplined today and then a year from today and live the same life, right? So discipline is by its nature a form of consistency, right? But people can be consistently undisciplined and they won't reap the rewards of living by discipline, right? So you people are going to be consistent. They're going to consistently be doing whatever it is they're going to do, good or bad, but discipline is the intentional limiting of your options and environment in a way that frees up your willpower to exercise it in a limited number of options, right?
Yeah.
So that's why to me there's the huge difference between constraint and restraint. Restraint is the momentary application of willpower, right? In the moment, I have to say no to this. Constraint is recognizing future potential for temptation and then making choices in the present moment to build a future where that temptation doesn't even exist. So, the way I always like to think of it for myself, it's easy to say no once at the grocery store and not bring it home with me than to go, you know what? I've got discipline. I've got self-restraint. I can say no to all this chocolate. So I can buy 5 pounds of it and I'll be okay. Well, now I have to exercise restraint all day, every day that I'm home. Whereas if I had constrained my environment to prevent it from coming into my home in the first place, it wouldn't even be something I think about. So lack of discipline invites temptation more so than the proactive use of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm thinking about Haagen-Dazs as you're talking.
Right, right, exactly. But if it's not already in your home, you now have to
Have
spend a
some
lot of
freedom.
energy to go do this thing that you may know is not the best thing to do for you. But if you had already done it, it's easier to keep going, right?
Yeah, it's in the freezer. I can walk down the
Mhm.
hall right
Yep,
now, grab a spoon.
yep, yep. So yeah, to me, sugar's the devil,
Oh.
and anything that converts to sugar is the devil. I save my sugar calories for whiskey. That's about it.
Like a good Carolinian.
Yep, yep, exactly.
Oh, great. It's been great to get to know you a little bit. I really
Hey,
appreciate your
my
time.
pleasure.
I
Yeah,
know.
you got it. And yeah, whenever the episode goes live, I'll share it all over the place and put a permanent link on my media page where all the podcast appearances go. So that way you get a link back to your site. So yeah, looking forward to sharing the love.
Perfect. I'll let you know when it airs. Thank you
Utimus.
so much.
You got it.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.